Hit this again. All right, welcome everybody to the Selma City Council special meeting. It's December 2nd, 2024. It's 4:04 p.m. in the Selma City Council chambers at 1710 Tucker Street, Selma, California, 93662. The teleconference phone number is 301-715-8592. The webinar ID is 891-6864-5005. When on the phone, if you wish to address the council during the public comment portion of the agenda, press star 9 to raise your hand and we will select you from the meeting queue. Press star 6 to unmute and mute yourself. Notice to meeting attendees, all Selma City Council meetings are video recorded. All rules of procedure and decorum apply to in-person attendees as well as those participating virtually. Disruptive behavior, including but not limited to verbal outbursts, personal attacks, or inappropriate gestures will not be tolerated. Attendees who fail to adhere to these guidelines will be asked to leave the meeting pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.9, which authorizes the removal of disruptive individuals. Would you call the roll, please, City Clerk?
Councilmember Guerra.
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro.
Here.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho. Mayor Robertson.
Here. Potential conflicts of interest. Any council member has a potential conflict of interest may now identify the item and recuse themselves from discussing and voting on the matter. Agenda changes or deletions to better accommodate members of the public or inconvenience in the order of presentation. Items on the agenda may not be presented or acted on in the order listed. Additions to agenda may be added only pursuant to California Government Code, Section 54954.2b. Oral communications. At this time, any member of the public may address the City Council regarding any item on the special meeting agenda over which the council has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will be taken on any item not on the agenda. Issues raised will be referred to the city manager for review. Members of the public are asked to limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody who'd like to have an oral communication today?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Dwight Nelson. I'm here representing Nelson Properties, the Selma Holiday Inn Hotel, the Legends Restaurant, the Selma Auto Mall, and numerous other properties that I own here in Selma. My coming here tonight is to lodge a complaint against the city manager and the manner in which he has treated not only myself, but also my employees that have attempted to meet with the city manager to discuss very important things to us that he obviously could care less about. I don't think it's right. We've tried to work with the city guidance of trying to meet with Fernando. Fernando refuses to meet with us to discuss the numerous items that we've had on this agenda for several months, over a year, in fact. The last meeting that was held was about 2 weeks ago. At that meeting, Fernando said he was there directed by the city council, all of you, to discuss only one subject with me, not the numerous subjects that we've been trying to meet and discuss with him. During that meeting, once he received whatever information he needed, he abruptly got up and left the meeting. Prior to the meeting started, I asked, would we please record the meeting? I thought the recording would be a good idea because we've had problems in the past with your city manager, and he refused not once, not twice, but 3 times at my request to please record the meeting so there'd be no misunderstanding of what was being said or not said. This is the tip of the iceberg, this item that happened then. When the, and I only have 3 minutes, so the clock is running. Back when the Highway 499 was reconstructed, traffic to my hotel, my restaurant, and other items was blocked and stopped by Caltrans. We made every effort to try to find some way to help and identify to the public where we were located. When it finally came down to where we were totally blocked and all the traffic was getting off on 2nd Street, there was one sign on 2nd Street that directed traffic to the west. The next sign was on Nebraska, just before Highland. And that sign had an arrow pointing to the south, directing all traffic detour to go south. I tried to meet with the city assistant manager, Jerome, tried to get, can we please put a signage up there, please? We'll pay for the signage. And Jerome said no. City manager said no, no signs. We can't put any signs up. So consequently, no signs were up and we lost a lot of traffic. Every month I pay to the city in excess of $20,000 a month for your hotel tax. $20,000 a month, $240,000 a year. I agreed I'll pay for the signage. Fresno currently on Golden State Boulevard and Herndon Avenue, there are two hotels. There's major road construction going on, and both hotels have the city has put up signs directing how the traffic can get to the hotels. Selma, Fernando, did not want me to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
Mayor, if I could respond to Mr. Dwight Nelson's comments to the council, simply because I believe that there are very erroneous statements that were made and false statements.
Okay.
I'm not attempting to discuss with Mr. Nelson. I want to clarify some points with the council.
Are they're related to your performance evaluation?
No, with Mr. Nelson's complaint, his statement that he just made.
Okay, what, sorry? Okay. Yeah, the only issue is we can't discuss stuff that's not on the agenda. So we just need to make sure that we're not discussing anything not on the agenda.
Okay. If I could respond to some of the statements that Mr. Nelson made in public comment, is that okay?
As a public comment, you may, yes.
Okay. So just to clarify some of and if we need to set the timer, that's fine as well. To clarify Mr. Nelson's statements, I have met with Mr. Nelson on several occasions to talk about a whole host of issues that he's brought to my attention, not just myself, but my staff. We have attempted to work with him on many of these issues, including signage that he's requested to be replaced, which we have done that on Highland Street, for example. There are other issues with regard to fencing and setbacks and McCall specific plan that we've addressed, and we've given him documents that he's requested. I think the previous meeting that he has just alluded to, which I did meet with him, I sent an email to the council in which Mr. Nelson referred to myself and my staff as idiots and losers, which is the reason that we got up and left the meeting, because it was a very unprofessional manner in which to direct himself to my staff and to myself. The meetings with Mr. Nelson have become very unproductive, have become very hostile, and it is not an environment that I am willing to put my staff in, simply because Mr. Nelson does not like some of the answers that he receives from the staff. The statement that he made that the signage for his business was denied by me is also erroneous and false. Caltrans controls the signage that's placed on their off-ramps and on the highway. And we requested to them many times about flexibility with regard to the signage so as to minimize the impacts, not just to Mr. Nelson's business, but to all the businesses that are off of the 99. And while they were flexible in some respects with adding additional signage, they did not want us to name specific businesses on the detour signage at all. And it wasn't a call that I could make or I have authority to make. So I wanted to clarify that as well. I think our conversations with Mr. Nelson in the past have gone very well, but there are some issues, some legal matters that we have to approach because there is a pending claim against the city from one of the organizations that Mr. Nelson controls, that we're limited in what we can discuss and what we cannot discuss. And the last meeting that the council directed me to attend with Mr. Nelson was in reference in regard to that. So I just wanted to clarify, I don't have any personal issue with Mr. Nelson. I think that he is a great contributor to the city, and I hope to be able to, in the future, be able to help him grow his business in any way that the city can. But there is also a standard for professionalism that is expected to be upheld, and to harass my staff and sending us emails at all hours of the night insulting us is not something that I'm willing to allow my staff to be put through. Thank you.
Okay. No, that's it. Those oral communications. We can't have a discussion. Thank you for your input, Mr. Nelson. Thank you for your rejoinder, city manager. And with that, we're going to first ask the city clerk, is there anyone online or on the phone who has any input at this time? Okay, with that, we're going to adjourn our recess into closed session. Thank you. Everybody here would please go into the foyer for now.
Sarai, did you want to make a